Now, this story is atrocious in a lot of ways, but it does have a funny element because the guy talking here is what the Saudis call a historian. And he's going to talk about why women are not allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia and why they are allowed to drive in the West. And that's the most interesting part. So, Middle East Media Research Institute recorded this, and Huffington Post wrote about it recently. His name is Saleh al-Saadoon, and he claimed in a recent TV interview that women can be raped when a car breaks down. But unlike other countries, Saudi Arabia protects its women from that risk by not allowing them to drive in the first place. Oh, that's why they can't drive. Because if they drove, there's a tiny percentage chance that they would break down, and then they would obviously be immediately raped. So here is Saleh al-Saadoon, Saudi historian, explaining the phenomena to us. He says about the Westerners, they don't care if they are raped on the roadside, but we do. Oh, okay. I was not aware of that, but he is a historian, so it's hard to argue. He says, it's no big deal for them, beyond the damage to their morale. In our case, however, the problem is of a social and religious nature. Isn't that amazing, man? He's saying like, oh, you got raped. I mean, for the Western women, it's just a morale problem, right? But for us, it's also a religious problem, so it's much more serious. It's not really how I view rape. I think the rape is the serious part. Your religious views about it is a little less important, okay? But obviously he doesn't view it that way. And even the anchors, and one of them was a female anchor, covered her head, was like, oh my God, what are you saying, right? That's because you can't really justify not allowing women to drive. It makes no sense whatsoever, right? So you have to come up with nonsense things like this. Oh yeah, no. Western women, rape is no big deal to them. So now, let's be fair to the guy. He apparently did have a solution because, one of the anchors asked him, they said, well, what if their male drivers rape them? And he's like, ooh, good question. Okay. So he said, there is a solution, but the government officials and the clerics refuse to hear of it. The solution is to bring in female foreign chauffeurs to drive our wives. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, right? How do you give women more rights? Give them female chauffeurs, of course. Isn't this insane? This is one of the top allies of the United States of America. That we protect these guys to no end. The ISIS, they do beheadings. So do the Saudis. Oh, Iraq, they did 9/11. No, they didn't. 17 out of the 19 hijackers were Saudis. And you have people like this Saudi historian talking about why we should never let women drive. And the only reason the Westerners do is because they don't mind the rape. Okay, by the way, if women do drive, what's the punishment? Well, the Saudi women face serious penalties if they are caught driving, including lashing. So get a load of this. Their idea of how to protect women is, we don't want you to get raped, so if you drive, we will beat you with a whip. We'll whip you, okay? And it's not theoretical. Right now, 2 women who have defied the ban on driving last year, Lujan al-Hathloul and Maisa al-Amoudi, who, by the way, are amazing heroes, are being tried in a court that handles terror cases. But that is fitting, because for the Saudi royals and the government and the people in power in Saudi Arabia, that is what strikes terror in their hearts, a liberated woman. Now, on the lighter side of things, we did find the exchange in a Saudi government on the issue of women driving and other rights that they might have. And this is a Young Turks exclusive. So we want to show it to you so you can judge for yourself. Watch.
If Ferengi females can wear clothes in public, then they can leave their homes. If they can leave their homes, they can go to work. If they go to work, they can make profit.
What's the matter, Quark? Afraid of a little competition?
Okay, that might not have been the Saudis. But the Saudis do make similar claims as the Ferengi, that the rest of us humans shamelessly clothe our women, inviting others to unclothe them. Isn't it sad that there's a legitimate comparison between the Saudis and the Ferengi?